everyone, this is Dr. Salcedo, your conscious gynecologist. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about what foods to avoid if you have endometriosis. Now, I see so many patients with endometriosis, and as you know, I have a different approach. We look at the body as a whole and we try to figure out root cause analysis to be able to avoid our endometriosis triggers. So, if you're looking for something more of a nutritional approach, this is the video for you. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 foods to avoid when you have endometriosis. As you probably remember from all of our different videos of endometriosis, endometriosis is a gut microbiome disorder. Endometriosis starts from the gut and it's caused by intestinal inflammation. And so, as a result, there are a lot of different foods that cause intestinal inflammation. And when I treat patients in the clinic who have endometriosis, I make sure that they understand and avoid these 5 foods. The first one is seed oils. Now, seed oils is the term for all kinds of different cooking oils that we use that are synthetic and cause major damage to our intestines. Seed oils could be vegetable oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, any synthetic oil that processors use to create shelf stable foods or that we actually use to cook with in our own home. They wreak havoc on our intestinal microbiome and cause complete breakdown of the good bacteria that's there that helps protect the lining of our intestines. Now, if we obliterate that lining, it causes leakage of intestinal inflammation and inflammatory molecules and bacteria into our pelvis that cause that inflammation that allows our retrograde menstruation, our menstrual cells to stick to the lining of our pelvis, and that causes that endometriosis bloating and symptoms that we have. So, number one, avoid all of those seed oils. And it's better to cook with natural oils, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. Those are the oils that we want to cook with. Even bacon fat's okay to cook with, tallow, butter. Those are really great nourishing oils for our body. They're made of cholesterol. And remember, cholesterol is the building block for all of our female hormones. So if you don't use cholesterol in your diet, you're actually going to be deficient in a lot of female hormones. So don't be afraid, include them in your diet. The second thing that wreaks havoc and causes intestinal inflammation among women who have endometriosis are lectins or nightshade vegetables. So lectins is actually an anti-nutrient. It's a toxin that's actually in the skin of many fruits and vegetables and causes significant intestinal inflammation. You know what I'm talking about. The skin that's on legumes, the skin that's on beans and lentils, that little capsule that we kind of chew on when you have a bean, that causes serious bloating in our intestines. Those lectins that are within the skin of those vegetables cause serious inflammation. It's in blueberries, it's in tomatoes, it's in eggplant. All of those things cause significant bloating and damage to our intestinal microbiome and can make our endometriosis feeling worse. Now, I know what you're thinking, doctor, those are part of a whole food plant-based diet. And yes, you're absolutely right. And for some people, it works really well. But those of us, including myself, who have endometriosis, it causes serious havoc in our intestines and they're best avoided. Another thing that causes inflammation when you have endometriosis are alcohol. So, one of the big players in this is anything that's made of malt. So, even beer, and beer is a big one because that causes a lot of intestinal bloating, and there's a lot of sugar and carbohydrates and starch in beer. And that is actually food, and it actually allows like the negative bacteria that's in our intestines to eat it, and it causes a lot of bloating and it causes those bacteria to create gases in our intestines that cause serious bloating. But the actual gluten within the beer itself is very damaging to our gut. And so that brings us to the next thing that we should be avoiding when we have endometriosis is gluten. Gluten also has that anti-nutrient, that toxin that causes a significant bloating in our intestines. And if anyone has endometriosis and they know that if they have any sort of gluten, they'll notice significant bloating. And that bloating again causes intestinal damage that leaks into our pelvis that makes our menstrual cycle a lot worse. So definitely worth avoiding gluten. Now, finally, the last thing that we should be avoiding with people who have endometriosis, including myself, is sugar. And that could be sugar of really any kind. So it could be high fructose corn syrup, which is terrible and completely obliterates the lining um, of our intestines, but also natural starches like beans, rice, potatoes, pasta, bread, all of those things definitely cause intestinal inflammation that actually break down the protective layers within our intestines and allow leakage of inflammatory molecules and bacteria to go into the pelvis to leak into the space between the rectum and the uterus and cause that deep pelvic pain when we have our endometriosis symptoms. So sugar definitely causes insulin resistance. If too much of it anyway will cause those spikes of insulin and lead to insulin resistance. But sugar on its own is very damaging to the mucosa, the lining of the intestines, that makes endometriosis worse. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and like it because really we're just trying to share all this information for women to help improve their overall health, particularly with endometriosis. There's so much information out there and a lot of treatment strategies that don't work for everyone, but focusing on nutrition is going to really help us. And so go ahead and like, share, subscribe to my channel. And so this will help with the algorithm and really help women so they can get the right information. Also, if you're interested in a consultation, go ahead and text or give our office a call. It's 840-688-0297, and we'll go ahead and help to make an appointment. Talk soon.